X2 Pro flagship, 120Hz 1440p screen, periscope camera, its first phone to use the Find name since the original Find X in 2018. Unlike that phone, it doesn't use the still unique motorized sliding mechanism that helped Oppo achieve a notchless display. But, like that phone, it does see Oppo turning out the sleekest, fastest, most premium device it possibly can in order to compete with the highest-end models from the likes of Samsung and Huawei. First of all, just look at that color. The Find X2 Pro is available either in black ceramic or this orange and gold vegan leather version you see here, which seemed ridiculous when I first took it out of the box, but I have to admit it's growing on me. It's a little bit Vertu, sure, but in a good, bold way. It's fun just to look at this thing. The same is true of the screen, which is clearly one of the best panels available in a phone, if not the best. It's a 6.7-inch 3168x1440 OLED display with curved edges, HDR10+ support, and a refresh rate of 120 Hz, putting it up there with the Galaxy S20. Unlike Samsung's latest flagship, however, you can use the 120 Hz mode at the full 1440p resolution, and Oppo also dynamically adjusts the refresh rate based on on-screen content. There's an optical in-display fingerprint sensor and a small hole punch cutout for the selfie camera. One unusual element of the screen is that Oppo is pairing it with a dedicated custom chip for image processing. It's called the O1 Ultra Vision Engine, and it handles upscaling of video content to 60 or 120 FPS, as well as converting it to HDR. This just sounds like the sort of motion smoothing thing I'd instantly turn off on my TV, really, but you can activate or deactivate it with a button in the notification shade. It's also worth noting that sister company OnePlus has already confirmed that it'll be using the same tech for its next phone. An even bigger 48-megapixel sensor. The Find X2 Pro has a 48-megapixel main camera, but it's not the same IMX586 sensor you've seen all over Android phones for the past year. Oppo worked with Sony on a new part called the IMX689. The sensor is much bigger at 1/1.43 inches, which means the pixels are 1.12 microns in size. That's still smaller than the 1.4 micron pixels you tend to find on more conventional 12-megapixel sensors, but this should be an upgrade in terms of light gathering ability. Following last year's Reno 10X zoom, Oppo is including a second-generation periscope telephoto camera in the Find X2 Pro. It's a 13-megapixel module with an aperture of f/3. Optically, it still only offers 5x the reach of the primary camera, but Oppo is claiming 10x hybrid zoom and up to 60x digital zoom. Compare that to the Galaxy S20 Ultra, where the 100x space zoom camera is actually just a 4x telephoto, albeit one in front of a 48-megapixel sensor with greater cropping potential. Finally, there actually is an IMX586 sensor in this phone after all, it's just that Oppo is using it for the ultra-wide camera. That means the ultra-wide has a half-inch sensor with f/2.2 aperture and a 120-degree field of view. Oppo also says it can focus down to 3 cm in macro mode. The selfie camera, meanwhile, has a 32-megapixel sensor. The Find X2's regular specs are as high-end as anything on the market. There's a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 processor, 5G support, 12 GB of RAM, 512 GB of storage, and stereo speakers. The haptics are very good. The phone runs ColorOS 7.1, based on Android 10. The battery is 4260 mAh and supports Oppo's SuperVOOC 2.0 fast charging, which in this case is said to provide a full charge in 38 minutes. There's still no wireless charging, unfortunately. Oppo is also releasing a non-Pro version of the X2. The main difference is in the camera system, which uses a less exotic telephoto camera and a different ultra-wide sensor with a 16:9 aspect ratio and 12-megapixel resolution, both of which are supposed to make it a better option for video. Beyond the 4200 mAh battery, 256 GB of storage, slightly thinner and lighter built, and the fact that you can't get it in orange vegan leather, the specs are otherwise the same. Overall, the Find X2 Pro is unquestionably going to be one of the most powerful and premium Android phones on the market, and it's priced as such. The phone will cost €1,199, $1,350 in Europe, while the regular X2 is €999, $1,130. My first impressions are positive, but the model I've been using is running pre-production software, so I haven't been able to give it a full review. Stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.